Oh, the timer is working. So the switchover is actually working, but the visual timer is not. Well, welcome everyone to this stream from a studio that kind of looks like the old one. Kind of looks the same, looks, very much like the same set. And I did, in fact, just grab all my stuff and put it in the new space. But you might already hear there is a bit of reverb going on. That is because this is the new studio, the new space. Actually, if I switch to the B cam, I can swivel you guys around. There's me, and there used to be a ceiling here that I could just reach up to. Not anymore. Look at that. Look at that head space. Look at that headroom. So this is the new studio space that I spent the last month moving to and building out and doing all of that. There is, I've got a gate now. Wow, like I'm never gonna use it, but it's there. Yeah, so there's like a little gallery, second floor kind of thing. That's the office, the editing den behind me. And then over this way, as I break off the screen on my camera, that's like space for two more sets, two more video sets. Maybe Philoween's gonna live over there, I don't know. Yeah, and then over here, maybe a little metal shop. I don't know, I've not decided yet. So far, I've pretty much only moved my studio here, moved all my stuff here, and kind of put up some sound blankets for that. And yeah, as you can see, people are saying the lighting's better. That's because the lighting is actually up in the air a bit, and it's not like literally touching my table. So should be a lot more even. Lots more stuff to do. Screens already did grow. No, those TVs are still the same ones I've used for years. Just too cheap 32-inch. TVs. So today we will be trying out the laser module on the Snapmaker A250. So I got in touch with Snapmaker. I think they are sending me the A250T upgrade kit. Is that actually something we can peel off? Oh, I think, we can. They're gonna send me the T upgrade kit. So next time, or at least for the review of this machine, I'm going to be able to show you guys the most current version of this printer. This is functionally the same between the T and the non-T model, but the T one is quieter and I think a bit faster or something like that. It has new linear motion components, so X, Z, and Y are new, and the power supply is less noisy. But today we're going to try out this thing. So this is the Snapmaker laser head. It's a laser that's not class 4, it's just laser 4, which, yeah, don't shoot laser beams out of your eyes and don't shoot it out of your fingers. That's cool. Laser aperture. Yeah, so that's the laser aperture. It has a camera on the bottom, so you don't have to like actually visually inspect what's going on. You get to see it on the screen, I assume. And somebody's told me in chat that it has some sort of alignment feature that it uses the camera for. Also, little LED, I guess, because the enclosure is going to be fairly dark inside. So yeah, don't do the Superman thing. And then up top, it's got this weird acrylic. Oh no. This weird acrylic insert that is just like plain glossy black. Same connector as all the other ones. Same 8-pin connector, 2 large power pins and 6 smaller communication pins. And that is it. Basically, we're going to just replace the 3D printing head on this machine with the laser head today. But first we need to build the enclosure because I am not about to use, oh, this one's heavy. That's the CNC attachment. I'm not about to use a laser engraver, I guess we can call it, without some enclosure. I guess the other thing is ventilation, because the fumes out of these machines aren't that super healthy. So it does have a, where are we at? No, that's the box. So the enclosure does come with an exhaust duct and clamp, so you get like an aluminum duct that's 10 centimeters and a fan, but there's no filtering inside the machine, which kind of is something that's necessary, because either you drill a hole into the side of your house, the side of your shop. I think my landlord's actually watching today, so he would be very happy if I just shoved this through the wall, I think. But what I'm gonna try to do is use one of the IKEA air filters with an activated carbon cartridge and just see how much that takes out. There is a lot of air in this space, so we're not gonna accumulate as much particulate matter in the air that quickly, but it's still something that should be thought about at least. All right, so last time we left off with this thing running as a 3D printer. Got a printout, which I do not have with me, but it did print. It printed okay. It printed well. It printed well for a printer or for a machine that is not really built as a printer. And while that thing was printing, I was assembling the enclosure. So this is the enclosure frame. Oh, actually, overhead view. Yeah, this camera is so far up now. You can actually see the whole table. So this is the enclosure frame that the entire printer is going to sit in once we use it as a laser engraver. Animation creations, yeah, so Nope, not stop in 8 hours. The IKEA air filter, the one that I'm gonna be using is this one's seen better days. I've used this for like catching drywall, sanding dust. The IKEA A250. So this one has, I guess I should, oh God, there's a lot of dust coming off of this. I should have vacuumed this out. But this thing has God, this thing is groggy. It has I believe this is HEPA class filtering. If I switch over to the B cam, you can kind of see a bit more of that. So HEPA class filter, and then behind that you can put in an activated carbon filter. So that is this guy that we're going to put in. Can you not go wider? Oh yeah, you can go wider. There we go. So this is basically just granulated loose activated carbon that sits behind the fine particulate filter, the HEPA filter, and just takes out all the stuff that is not particulate matter. So yeah, I think that's something that we do kind of have to worry about because it's not just particulates that come off of burning wood and plastics. It's also other stuff, which I'm not enough of a chemist to identify for you. So that sits behind that. That goes in here. I know I should vacuum out this filter, but it still has plenty of airflow and it does seal well. And then that's going to be my filtration solution. And these do filter out pretty well. These are really nice. These are, I think, $40 on IKEA Family with one non-carbon filter with a standard HEPA filter. And they're enough for, I think they say, a 20-something square meter room. And then you can get the bigger one, which goes to like a 40 or 50 square meter room for $100 something. So these are fantastic with the activated carbon filter. If you're printing ABS or printing any sort of stuff that gives off a smell or particulates, these just, I mean, I don't think these are like super high grade filters, though IKEA, I mean, very often they exceed what you expect of them. So I wouldn't use these to prevent like COVID spread, but I think for how much they are, for $40, they're just a nice little, they're not gonna hurt, right? They just help to improve the air a bit. So especially with printing, filament, you are always gonna get some particulate escaping and they can help. They're not gonna hurt. They can help a bit with that, I think. Green tea, Assam, green tea. Okay, this one does not have the particulate filters, just has a three-way manual switch. Let's get building. So I just grabbed everything as far as manuals and parts and stuff goes from the old studio. And I think we should be able to just continue where we left off last time. So this frame actually made it in one piece. Joel was kind of worried that it might snap because these screws that hold everything together, these right here, these have a very, very slim head. But it survived. It survived the move without any issues. Tell us what you're drinking. Green tea. Assam green tea. Very good stuff. Great thermos from Aldi. Love this thing. By the way, how do you guys prefer the... I know I keep rambling, but I'm excited about all this new stuff. So what I want to ask you guys is, how do you like the top view? So I've set it up now so that like, if I switch over to the top view, left stays left. So my arm is out here, left stays left. But I used to have it where I could zoom in and you guys would see the manual right side up. So that would basically have the image on the table. That would basically have the image flipped for you guys. But of course, that might be disorienting. So let me know what you prefer, flipped around or not. Anyway, yeah, I think we actually made it to the right page already, intuitively. So we've got the top frame, which has these LED strips in it. So some rigid LED strips all along here. And yeah, this is, it looks like it's a custom LED strip actually. So it's got a custom connector on there. I don't think you can just buy these as is. And it's fitted inside the frame here. Also, we've got the, whatever this distribution board is right here. I guess that's for fans and stuff. But yeah, this goes on like so. So Roman was asking about whether I want to visit Switzerland. That's not, I mean, that's not a great topic I can answer on a live stream when I've got so many things to think about already. But I'll think about it after the stream. Then who else do we have? We have Daniel Krag. Good to see you back from 3D Meetup Sweden. Hope you had fun there. Let me just write this thing here. So yeah, and somebody else, yeah, Fire Guy's asking, these are the safety, the laser goggles, by the way. I don't think we're gonna need them because this thing is gonna be in an enclosure. But Fire Guy's asking whether I'm gonna be at Earth Earth this year. And that's gonna be a no. So I'm still doing the reasonable thing and avoiding gatherings and international travel and, you know, just not something I'd feel good about right now. So yeah, that's unfortunately going to be a pass for me for any shows, meetup, etc. At least for now. We'll see what the future holds. Where is my screws? Did I really not bring the M4 by 70 screws? Is that really the ones that I forgot? Wait, no, M4 by 28. We're gonna have to get creative here, I think. M4 by 28. I am sure I brought everything. Oh, what a great start to the stream. Did I not bring these? Come on. So there are a bunch of random screws in here, but nothing that would help me assemble this. They're not in here. They're not in here. Well, that's how it goes when you move places and you thought you brought everything, but you actually didn't. Oh, there they are. Okay, just a bit chaotic. There they are. Found them. Sorry about the delay. WD-40 inductive. You can fix anything. Yeah, I was eyeing the gaff tape already. We could have just taped it together. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I think Snapmaker wouldn't be too happy about that. But hey, we could do that if worse comes to worse. So T-handle. Nope. That's what I wanted. T-handle time. So much quicker to assemble this with this guy. And then just like before, this just goes through the sides here. Oh, that's not a happy thread. That in fact is a very unhappy thread. Yeah, I don't really know how tight I should make these. It looks like the head on these is so shallow that it actually looks like they're sinking into the material. So it looks like they're becoming one with the aluminum. I still feel like that could have been a different screw, different choice for that. But hey, it looks cool, and that is one of the striking themes with the Snapmaker. It looks cool, even if some of the decisions are questionable. And Stefan's in chat here as well. Well, glad to have you around, and Stefan, I hope that new studio of yours ends up working out. That looks sweet as well. Everyone's getting a new studio right now. It's crazy. Uncle Jesse's in a new studio. Stefan might get one. I got one. Who else are we missing? I don't know. All the other YouTubers in other branches like of the maker world are also moving studios and sharing renovation projects. Was it Crafted Workshop? Johnny Brook? Who's now doing like a 50-year-old workshop renovation thing. Everyone's doing that. It's almost like, I don't know, COVID cleared out some businesses that are now sitting idle or sitting empty, just waiting for a new person to take up the lease. But yeah, glad to have you around, Stefan. Yeah, so Stefan just lifted the roof on his house and got an extra usable floor basically. That's what you see the recordings in, I believe. And yeah, already moving out of that again, it looks like. The thing is, you know what I ended up deciding to do, just in general with stuff, is to always commit to what you've got now, because you never know, like, I don't know. So I committed to my basement studio. That's what I had to do. That's what I had, and yeah, I made the best out of that. Stefan's committing to, or was committing to his home studio, home office, and you know, furnish that, because that's what he could plan on. And yeah, you just have to make the best out of what you got. And if stuff just happens to work out, like this studio is pretty much the perfect space for me. And I could have never planned on that. I could have never planned on this thing just appearing so close to where I live that I can basically walk there at a good price with a good setup. This thing has in-floor heating, concrete floor with heating built in. It's insulated. It's in the perfect location. It's just, I couldn't have picked anything better, even if I had spec'd out something myself. So, you know, you just never know. So, yeah, Stefan, hope you actually get that space. And yeah, kind of sucks that you just moved, or moved your studio. But always got to look forward. Okay, so panels. So as I was saying, where are we at? As I was saying, this printer has a full enclosure, technically. So this frame is at a very bad height. This printer has a full enclosure for the laser cutter. Oh, these are different colors. Can you guys see that? Maybe if I hold it up to the light with the B cam. So this panel is like a green, and then this one's that brown. That is interesting. So this printer should be in a full enclosure, which means I technically I'm not going to need the goggles. That's what I'm thinking, right? Because if the enclosure is an actual enclosure according to how an enclosure should be built, CE and all that, then there's not going to be any laser radiation at a dangerous level escaping out of this thing. So I don't think, well, the thing is, I also can't wear these because they kind of don't fit under my glasses. I can wear them like this and kind of still see something, but they also don't fit over my glasses. You know, I can still poke in here. I guess this is better than under, but these aren't great for me. Air breathing problems so far? No, air is perfect. Ceiling should be high enough. Yeah, so the plan is for this studio that I will be putting in some sort of forced air ventilation eventually. Though I don't know if I'm going to do that like right now and you know, have that as the next project. I'm kind of exhausted of how do I carry this? I guess like that. I'm kind of done with building stuff, so I built this entire thing here behind me. This is drywall and a somewhat load-bearing roof. I did all that myself with the help of a buddy. The entire thing, stick framed it out, put the drywall on, did the mudding, put in the drop ceiling on the interior, did the electrical. So whole thing, I'm kind of burnt out on construction stuff right now. So I'm not sure about ventilation, but eventually, I mean, this space would be perfect to put some in. The office needs some. If I put in a printer room here, then that's going to need some ventilation as well. Eventually, maybe I don't know, in the summer if I feel like it. Wear glasses when opening the door. Yeah. So that's something I should keep in mind. Assemble the back panel kits. So fan, wing nut, shroud. So basically this entire thing. And then the duct can go on at a later date. Not these. These are also wing nuts. These are M4x70 with wing nuts. Yes, these look like 35s. I did miss a super chat from Roman Tenger. Thank you for the 5 Swiss francs. Hope you're enjoying the stream, and I hope the echo isn't too bad in the studio. Ooh. Ah, that has a lot of static on it. So was this the green sheet? Was that just a blue film that made it look like it's green? Torsten, do I plan to do some more sound dampening in the room? Yeah. Well, first I want to see just how bad it actually is. And I want to use the room as is for a bit. I've not actually listened to the sound myself. I can kind of judge how bad it is. And it shouldn't be horrible. It's just that there is some reverb. The thing is, it's not bad reverb. Like in a small basement studio, the reverb just sounds awful. It's like small, closed in. Here it's kind of spacious. I actually kind of like it. And with the lavalier mic right here, it shouldn't be all too bad. So of course, yeah, I think there is going to be more reverb in this room than in the old studio, which had basically all the walls plastered with some sort of sound paneling. Oh. Which way does the cable go? Up. So this is kind of tricky. Sandwich this large panel we have between a fan and a shroud. Look at this wing that just goes on. Actually, I would have preferred just regular nuts. Those are way easier to put on. Near? Yeah. Oh, don't slide out. Dustin, yeah, I know how it sounds. I might end up just enabling de-reverb. So on all my studio shots, I've been using Acon Digital de-reverb in the old version, in the original version, and that's taken out a good bit amount of reverb. And I might just try how well it works for this space. And when all the audio you're hearing is processed like that, and I can use that for live streams as well, then I don't have to spend as much money on sound dampening. Manny's asking how much is that enclosure. So the enclosure, I believe, is, oh God, it's about 350 bucks or something. So the Snapmaker, if I remember correctly, is like 1,600 euros. And with the enclosure was like 19, almost 2 grand. So the enclosure adds like 350, though I don't know if you should be able to buy it by itself, right? No, tighten the screws excessively. Well, don't tighten these excessively either, I think. Okay, bye Roman. See you around next time. So this one goes, oh yeah, it actually goes on this side. Actually goes on this exact side, so we're good there. Yeah, for the B cam, I actually got a little wired remote that I can use for the power zoom on these guys. But the problem is, I'm gonna have to plug in that into the micro USB compatible multi-port on the Sony, so I'm gonna lose battery power. So I'm just gonna have to get dummy batteries for all these guys. Yeah, that doesn't work. Oh, because I got it. I got it wrong. I actually got it backwards. It's supposed to go on like this. And then the screws are going to line up. I just looked at the, I assembled this with a grommet here instead of here. Okay, gonna have to take that apart again. Sorry about that, and I will need a screwdriver because this is not coming off. There should be a screwdriver somewhere here. So I've got all my tools in this space in the shop right now, or in the studio, I'm gonna call it. I don't have any tools at home. I can't actually do anything at home. Let's see. I guess that's the first screwdriver I'm gonna have. Oh, these are. I don't even need the plasma cleaver. These are hex as well. I thought these were just standard Phillips screws. Can you go wider? Yeah, you can. Click undo. Yeah, that would be nice if that works. So Daniel is saying, yeah, carpets on the wall. Carpets on the wall is actually something that works really great. Carpets are surprisingly, well, carpets aren't cheap, but they're surprisingly cheap for how much sound dampening you're getting. So that's something you can do as well. It kind of looks groggy just to have carpets all over the place, but if it works, right? And welcome aboard, Torsten. Thank you for becoming a member. So YouTube memberships, for those of you who don't know, are a Patreon-like, I'm just going to call it Patreon-esque because, well, Patreon kind of started it all. Platform where you can support the channel, and what I do with, in the case of YouTube memberships, it's $5 a month. And it helps generate a continuous revenue for the channel so that I can commit to doing stuff like this, like getting a studio, getting a workshop that I'm going to have to pay monthly rent for. So thank you for that, Torsten. As a bonus to patrons, we do regular, I don't always manage to do monthly, but do regular Q&A hangouts that are exclusive to members and patrons only. So if you want to get some questions answered, that would be a great opportunity to do that. So welcome aboard, Torsten, and thank you. Hooah. Okay, now this should be correct this time, right? You guys are double checking. We've got the grommet above the fan, and that is exactly what this thing is showing, so yeah. Be sure to put the labeled side of the exhaust fan against the back panel. So yeah, that's basically airflow direction, because you can't exactly plug these in backwards and then have those spin backwards. That's not how these work. Okay, and now this should be able to just screw on like this. Yeah, that's lining up much better. That is, can we zoom in, or is that too much? Yeah, the auto exposure is getting kind of thrown off. So we are now using the M4 by, oh, this stands up by itself. Okay, M4 by 12. Did I have more screw baggies somewhere? That's these, that's the, oh, nope. So let's go screw searching again. There we go. So again, so this is something that I kind of, that I was kind of bothered by last time already. So these screws, I believe these are the ones with the printer itself, and these are the ones that come with the enclosure. These are all nicely labeled, so you can immediately tell what size they are, and these are just the same style back, but no label on them. So kind of hard to tell what you're actually looking at. Matt, yes, I did check for fan airflow direction, so we are good on that. Sheep is asking about the rent, how much that is. So rent right now is $850 a month, which is reasonable. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's not unreasonable for a space that's 1,100 square feet, 100 square meters, plus the overhead space of the gallery up there, which isn't, it's not totally walkable space, but it's like extra storage space at least. So pretty good. Heating cost isn't going to be that much because this thing has a heat pump. So like gas prices and stuff aren't going to be something to worry about. Yeah, it's okay. It's not cheap. It's more expensive than the last studio that I got, definitely. But I think it's a fair price. And yes, this only works because this, where I live and where the studio is the absolute weeds of southern Germany. So the only thing we have here is a BMW plant, and that's it. There's literally nothing else around here. So yeah, that's the downside of getting cheap rent. We don't have any cows around. Well, I guess we do have them, but not like walking around in the fields or anything. Manny's asking, do I work for myself or for a big company? No, I've been doing this YouTube thing for 5 or 6 years or something now. So this is my full-time job, and it's been for a while. I did try my luck out in the industry for not too long before I was sick of that, or actually before. They did close down, so I was kind of unemployed at that point. And at that point, I decided, hey, why not try this YouTube thing? I think I was at 150,000 subscribers, 200,000, or something along those lines, when I decided to commit to making this my full-time gig. And it kind of did work out so far. We'll see what YouTube does to screw over creators. Well, that's something I'm gonna have to worry about. But hey, there's TikTok, there's Twitch, alternatives. Yep, Torsten, that's the spot. I mean, if it wasn't obvious by the description. All right, so you connect the door switch cable. We kind of need, I feel like we need some more zoom on this overhead camera. Yeah, if I can get a way to plug in a wide remote that has a long enough cable, I'm just gonna hook up a zoom switch to this. Actually, where is the one that I got? Can't find it right now. But yeah, it only has like a 1 meter long cable, and the multi-port thing connector is like a super complicated 10 pin, 11 pin thing. Yep. Where do you plug in? So you can't exactly just extend it. Oh, connected to either. That's interesting. Connect the door switch cable to either door switch port of the enclosure converter. So you can connect to either the left or the right connector on this guy, which I'm not going to be able to show you because it's in a very awkward spot. It's like underneath, and I don't think I can even rotate I guess I could rotate it so the B camera kind of sees it. Yeah. Connect the LED strips with the enclosure converter using 2 LED strip cables. So we're going to need some LED strip cables. This looks like some sort of a cable. That is not an LED strip cable. That's a wrench, that's a little spatula. That is LED strip cables. Yeah, so as far as, what did I miss? As far as internet goes, the stream seems to be stable, right? The stream seems to be working reasonably well. This is a 4K 30, I think I've set it up for. So stream seems to be stable enough. This is a DSL 100,000 down and 32 up, which is like, this is the maximum you can get here. A couple streets over, they've got fiber up to gigabit, but I mean, for what I'm doing, it's not great. I wish I could have fiber, but it's actually usable. It's okay. And maybe we're gonna manage to get fiber in here at some point, but for now, this is just DSL 100,000. It's fine. It's okay. You know, don't let what's the term? Don't let perfect be the enemy of good enough, or something along those lines. This is good enough. This works. Looks like 720p at 30. Change your stream settings, man. YouTube might down convert it actually. Are we? Let me just double check that we're actually on the correct stream profile. We are on. Oh no. We're on 4K 30. We're streaming 4K 30, unless YouTube does something weird. Internet, I think, is like $35 a month here, which isn't. I mean, it's It's not super cheap, but it's also not unreasonable. It's like everything around here. It's not like super mega duper cheap, but it's not unreasonable for what you do. Cell phone plans have also come down quite a bit, so I'm not complaining. It's very all right. Paul, can you not increase the stream quality? No 4K options, huh? That's kind of a waste. I'm streaming in 4K and YouTube doesn't even display it to you. That's weird. I might have to check my YouTube stream settings. Yeah, it's not 60 frames. It's not 60. This is a 30 frames per second stream only. Why not 60? Because the only 4K 60 camera that I have is the A cam, this guy, the A7S III, and the other cameras are all 4K 30 limited. 4K 60 cameras are freaking expensive. Bury the door switch cable, exhaust fan cable, and the right LED strip cable into the grooves of the beam. Fix the cables with cable clips. So I believe that's these. Yeah, that is a lot of cable clips. That's just a whole bunch of injection molded pieces that look like this. At least that's the ones I'm supposed to use, and you get a bunch of them. So we're going to be spending some time doing some cable management. They actually show you where they want you to put cable clips, and it's a lot of them. It's a lot of them everywhere. So 4 along the side that goes down to the fan, and then another 7 along the top edge. Wow. YouTube converts to 60. Ha! Yeah, no, you can absolutely stream in 4K. Oh, I'm hoping I didn't screw myself over here. No, this is long enough. You can stream in 4K, and I have streamed, I think I have streamed in 4K. YouTube actually has dedicated, let me think about this for a second, I guess like that. YouTube actually has info about 4K streaming where it's going to tell you, hey, if you enable ultra low latency mode, we're not going to be supporting 4K streaming anymore. So they do officially support 4K streaming. I guess that's the angle? Yeah. So we're going to be doing some cable shoveroni. So basically the way this is going to work is just shove these into the profile and then we clip the guide over it. Is that what we do? No, I guess the other way around, right? Yeah, okay, so this just gets shoved in here. Gets shoved in here and then this just clips over it. Okay. Yeah, well, I guess. And thank you for the tip, Manny. Very much appreciated, very kind of you. Okay, so cable lengths actually look okay. There's a bit of a loop right there, but that's gonna work out. So this rail right here is actually where the LEDs sit, and I guess this one is, or I guess down here then, is where we're gonna route this door switch cable. Yeah, that is rather tight. Tip upside down, let gravity help. I guess I could do that. That would be smart. But oh, let's see if you guys can get a view of this. Always thinking about the viewer experience first, whether something's simple or easy. Not really that much of a consideration. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 7. So 1 in the center, 2 on either side. There we go. Yeah, by the way, guys, don't feel obliged to send tips or to join as members or anything. I very much appreciate the folks who do, but this isn't Twitch where I'm begging for tips or anything, or for bits. I guess it's on Twitch. If you wanna, sure, I appreciate it, but like don't feel compelled to or obliged to send money my way. Come on. Ah, those are some tight cable clips. I mean, they look great once they're installed, especially with this many. They really do bury the cable pretty well. And then this guy goes in. So I could have routed that in the other slot. Should I have routed that in the other slot? Guess it doesn't really matter. So right now I've got it routed in this slot. I guess we could have routed it in the side slot as well. Yeah, and the manual does say to route it in the side slot, though really it doesn't make a difference except for this bit right here where it kind of leaps over this cable. Yeah, so just keep in mind this should be a bit different to how we're doing it, but functionally it's the same. It really is. So how many on this side? 4. Posno is saying, would be nice if they had this cable management with the other cables. Had problems with the second F350 and the build plate cable. Yeah, so this enclosure is fairly nicely cable managed. Everything's like in a spot. Everything's, you know, it looks like it has its dedicated space. So this cable lives in here. This is so hard to show. Nope. Yeah, maybe. It's so hard to show. So this is all kind of tucked away. On the printer itself, even though the printer itself does look very slick, yeah, it is very heavy. There's zero cable management. So yeah, you've just got all this stuff coming out the back. And then cables running underneath the printer with like no place to zip tie them up. There's a little slot that you push them through, but that is it. So quite the difference between the machine and the enclosure. It's almost like 2 different teams designed those. All right. So we've got the cables managed. We're not supposed to manage the left LED strip yet. We're now supposed to bury the left LED strip. Okay. Well, fix the cable, tilt the snap joint, and press against. Yeah, okay. We figured that out. So same as before. You go into the slot and then we clip on. I guess one last note on the discussion 1080p versus 4K. The cameras do output a true 4K signal to my streaming computer. But when I use the digital crop, so this is just a digital crop, obviously, from the 4K signal, we do end up with, 1080p resolution. of usable pixels basically. So there's no magic upscaling happening. This, what you're seeing right now is 1080p essentially. So basically on if this stream, if the 4K was working, you would get a sharp image on this, on the zoomed out view here, but as soon as I punch in, it's basically going to drop down to 1080p anyway. So it doesn't make a whole lot of a difference. Ooh, okay. Basically, this is how we're assembling this. I thought the machine was going to live like inside the frame. I thought there was going to be like a floor or something, but it's the enclosure basically just plops over the printer. Okay, so this is going to be pretty hard to move once we've got the printer in there. So let me think about how are we going to do that? Actually, before we can install the printer inside the enclosure, we do have to convert it to the laser setup. Because right now we're still on the 3D printer setup and we can't exactly just plop that into sound cutout. Ooh, not good. You can't just plop this in with the spool mount and everything in there. So this enclosure is going to have to go out of frame for a second, and then we're going to need to convert our printer to the laser head first. You go over here. Oh, there's so much space. I can just set stuff down. It's so nice. No floor, just brackets that hold the printer in place. Huh. Oh, crap. But there is a printer on the floor. No place to grab this thing. Table on wheels. Yeah, I guess if you could bolt like an extra floor just on the underside of the enclosure. That shouldn't be too much of an issue. Be sure to choose a proper exhaust location. So this we're putting on pause for now, and we're switching over to the printer manual. This guy. Spool has to be gone, yeah. So we're gonna have to convert the head, which shouldn't be much of an issue because this is just 4 screws and the connector. The bed is gonna need to be switched out, and the spool mount, of course, will need to be gone to fit in the enclosure, as Posno is saying. Huh. Manny's asking, do you think you can fit another printer in that, like an Ender 5 Pro? Do I have? So I've got a Prusa for scale. I don't have an Ender at the studio yet. The enclosure isn't quite as tall as I'd like for an Ender. I guess the Ender would fit. I guess it should fit in there. Standard Prusa size machine should fit in there. I'm gonna check with the Prusa if you guys remind me before we set this thing in there. So I'm just taking off the 3D printing head and the bed, and then we're gonna check the manual for how we install the laser tools. Though I believe it's not gonna be that different to the 3D printing stuff. So the only thing that needs to change here is the bed, that I don't know how to do. The tool head stuff, pretty trivial. It's just the same 4 screws on the back. You can convert the tool head later, yeah, but I want to convert it now while it's out here. It's just easier, more convenient to do it while it's outside the machine. What about robotic operation of the B camera? What if I could have this thing just freely move around me, and it didn't need 5 different cameras to do the one job of showing what's going on? Wouldn't that be cool? The spool holder will be installed outside the case. Ah, yeah, right. I mean, you can print inside. Oops. You can print inside the enclosure. You can do that, even though it is technically the laser enclosure. You can still use it for 3D printing. We're just going to set that aside. That would actually make for a cool thumbnail, just like that, with the tool head on top, with the filament still loaded. All right, and then basically, where did I put that? There we go. Laser head. Laser head. So yeah, this is my first laser cutter. Baby's first laser is not clickbait. I mean, if you guys click it, then it did work. But this is the first laser tool that I am using because it is the first one that has, or at least was advertised with, a proper-ish enclosure. I'm not going to use a laser that has no enclosure. Just don't think that is safe. 1.6 watts of laser radiation is a whole hecking lot of power. Doesn't sound like much, but it's going to take out your eye quicker than you can say, ah! Now, what would you say when the thing hits your eye? I don't know. Hey, Rick. Build a camera bot. Yeah, that's, I mean, oh, bite of blender on a hang printer effector. Huh. Haven't thought about that. The thing with the hang printer is the hang printer really needs its dedicated envelope that it can work on. It's a really cool kinematic system, but like when I'm thinking about how it would be mounted here, I guess we would have 2 of the anchors, I guess that they're called, in each of the corners behind me, and then there would be a string going to the effector from those, and then one going that way. So I would kind of be cornered in here by the hang printer string. So I'm not sure how well that would work out. So I was thinking about, so I guess I can tell you that much because that project is cancelled. I was thinking about doing a like an overhead mounted camera robot in the old studio if I hadn't gotten this space, where it was basically one overhead track that was like right around here in front of my desk, where the camera could move left, right, and a bit back and forth as well, and then have a Z-axis that basically dropped down, and then have a pan and tilt on that axis as well. That was something I was genuinely considering building for the old studio, and I had printed the first couple parts for that. But then the studio went away and there's no ceiling here that I could fix this to. So I'm thinking about ways that I could replicate that experience in this space right now. Maybe put up some ceiling trusses. I don't know, those would need to be anchored down pretty well to not start shaking. Ceiling mounted XY, core XY gantry. Ooh. What, sadly there was no hang printer on 3D media? Daniel, was Torbjörn not there? I thought he tweeted pictures of the hang printer there. Oh, that wasn't at 3D Meetup Sweden. Sheep is asking, what's with your ceiling? Well, the thing is, the ceiling is like, it's up there, you know? That's 6 meters up or something. So if that's enough. So that would be quite a long, dangly camera arm that hangs down. All right. Spool mounts off, tool heads off. So now the bed. That's a lot of screws. I hope you can move these while the printer is off, but I'm just doing it because I'm not gonna wait for everything to power on. And then this can actually get unplugged before we do anything here. Robot it is then. AR4 robot arm. Yeah, I've thought about doing some sort of a robot arm. Let me write that down actually. AR4 robot arm, as long as it's not an AR-15 robot arm. Notes to myself, AR4 robot arm. There we go. Yeah, I was thinking about building some sort of a robot arm. That'd be very nice for this space here. And then, of course, just put a camera on it. Or some sort of 3D printed tool that could work as well. Baloo has a 2x3 meter gantry for the camera. Yeah, the thing is, I don't want it to take up a 2x3 meter space. So the thing with the overhead robot would have been that I can, like, if I really want that arm out of the way, I can just slide it off to the side and it's basically going to be out of the way. I don't want to have like a full CNC portal built up in front of me. So robot arm, I guess, would be pretty nice. Maybe on a short track or something. Not really 3D printed. I'm going to look into it, Mr. Maker. Where did you learn to speak English so well? Well, it's not where, it's when. It's just you do it long enough, eventually it does work out. I mean, look at some of my first videos. Those were extremely stiff. So really, like I said, it's when do you learn, and just over time. No tracks on wheels. Well, it's gonna vandalize the studio if I have it drive around. So okay, this was the 3D printing part, laser engraving and cutting. Okay. Connect the laser toolhead. We did that. The laser toolhead is on. Make sure the power switch is off. Yes. I guess I should leave this unplugged until it's in the enclosure and safely tucked away. Toolhead cable goes into the uppermost toolhead plug. Yes, that is connected right there. That is the top toolhead plug. And it needs to go behind the gantry. Okay. Wood or Weast? Dude is working on 6-axis kinematics. Well, do it. I mean, you can basically run as many axes as you want, I think, and do it. You can just define more axes, give them movement commands. Though I don't know if there's any soft or hard limit yet, but there should. I don't think a 6-axis robot at this point in time actually would be much of an issue for a do-it board. Right, so these are heat sinks. These are basically extrusion profile heat sinks that they give. Ow, they have sharp corners when you put your weight on them. These are heat sinks. That's what you buy them for, right? But the way they want you to use them is not with the heat sinking side up. So basically the laser hits it and it gets distributed, but with the fins up. That's interesting. So this is kind of like a water jet setup almost, where you have only a thin section of material that touches the print, and then I guess the laser can kind of dissipate and spread out underneath. If the focus, well, I guess if the focus spot is very, where what's it called? The height of your laser beam that is in focus is super small, then down here where it's going to hit the material, it's not going to have that much, that high of a power density anymore. Okay, so these just barely clear. So you can kind of see that. So this is the attachment point for the center one. This just has one screw hole in the front and in the back. And then these are the points for the side profiles here and here. And if you really center this up, this just barely misses those. So it's really just held up by the front and back one. So the accuracy, the tilt left, right, is really determined by how flat these spots are milled. And they are machined, so that's good. They have machining marks on them, so they should be rather flat. I'm just going to screw it together and see how even these profiles end up from one to the next. And we do this with the standard M4x10 screws that the entire printer is assembled with. If I had enough of them. Yeah, there's a couple more in here. I think this should be enough. Posno is asking, why didn't you give you the 10-watt laser? So the 10-watt laser is the one that comes with the T versions of the model. Yeah, that was the other difference, right? So the T models are quieter because they have a new linear motion system, and the T model also comes with the 10-watt laser. This is the non-T model. So I've had this printer for a couple months. It was in the box. So I guess when they sent this out to me, they had the T model on their roadmap, but wasn't actually out yet. So what I think I'm going to manage to do with them is just have them send me the upgrade kit, which is new linear axes and the new laser head. Well, new linear axes, laser head, and a power supply, which is like the majority of the printer, but you can upgrade that. Hope I have enough of these screws. Looks like I'm one short. Do we have one more of these? No. That's some threes. I am one screw short for this one, though I don't think we really need it. Sorry, you can kind of see. The screws in here, this one does not have one. I think when we tighten everything down, it should be solid enough. Yeah, but there is a height difference. There is a noticeable transition between. Maybe you can, yeah. You can even see that. All the way back, there is a noticeable transition where this piece is higher up than this guy. I'm just going to plonk in one of these countersink screws. Still there. It did pull it down a bit. but that height difference is still there. So I don't know, like I said, I don't know how much leeway we have with the focusing distance of the laser, but that might throw us off. Manny, I did not work for, I don't know if you're talking to me, but yeah, I did not, I never worked for Prusa. I work with Prusa. They do sponsor videos eventually, or eventually from time to time, but I've never actually worked for them. In fact, I have never worked for a 3D printer company at all, for any company in the space. I have worked with them, and I've done jobs with One Click Metal, yeah, and for Dust Filament, where I did video jobs for them, but never any engineering or community management, whatever. Oh, I found the screws. I found the screws. We had more here. We had some more screws here. Yeah, Mr. Maker, yeah, so to clarify that, I'm not, I kind of have a hunch of what's going on with, come on. What's going to be happening on Friday with Prusa. There's been some teasers posted. I have a very strong hunch of what's going on, but I've not been filled in for sure. Baloo plus minus 0.5. Ooh, that's actually ooh. Looking over this from the side, let me get something flat. I guess this is going to be flat enough. If I line this up at the front here. Hard to see, unfortunately. Yeah, but this one is sticking up. That's almost a millimeter. In the center, it's pretty much flat. Back, well, we'll just see. I think it should be all right-ish. Somebody was asking about whether this is a proper laser or just a diode laser. Of course, this is just a diode laser. This is not a CO2 laser. I believe this is going to be 400 and something nanometers, just a typical almost UV laser that you see in diodes. 1.6 watts is kind of the typical range you get for those. Basically, a DVD burner or Blu-ray burner laser. DVD was still red, wasn't it? Yeah, so Blu-ray laser, I guess, technically. What are we switching to? We are switching to this, because we have the platform installed. How do I actually mount stuff to this? Do I just stick my stock down? Because they give you some cast acrylic matte side and frosted, and some poplar plywood. Did you just? It fits on there nicely, but it doesn't have. You can see how easily that slides around. I guess you tape it down. Or the accelerations are so low. Ronald, yes, so BQ, right? I forgot about them. I had purged that memory from my mind. BQ I worked for 3 months, but not for their 3D printer division, but for their robotics and Arduino division, basically. We were doing programming courses for school kids, basically, or school-age kids, teaching them about the basics of just programming and logic, computer logic. And that was, I guess technically that's a 3D printer company, so, but it was not for their 3D printer stuff. Where we at? BQ, yeah, BQ as in letters B and Q. They're out of business now, so not that I had any part of that, but yep, phone company. Spanish phone company. Initial setup, plug the AC power cable into an electrical outlet, Wi-Fi focal point. Okay, so there's a calibration how do we call this? Calibration engraving that you do? So that would be perfect, that's too wide, I guess. You just need to set the thickness of different materials once the focal length has been determined. Okay, can you focus this thing? Yes, you can. So the laser head, I was wondering about this. So this is the lens that you can actually move in and out. It sounds a bit crunchy, but I guess you can use this to adjust the focus. And if you unscrew this, you're going to see the laser diode underneath. Just lick the back and press it down. How does the laser extrude the filament? That would be an interesting challenge. 1.6 watts of heating is not going to be too much. But okay, we did the laser conversion. This thing technically now is a laser engraver thingamajig. I have left the laser head unplugged just for safety. But this can go into the enclosure now. So we're going to switch manuals. Oh God, why am I getting tired? We're going to switch manuals and we're going to move to the enclosure manual and plonk down the enclosure over the printer. So let me think. Thought process. I want to give you guys a good view of what's going on here. And I guess I'm going to have to rotate this a bit further this way so that with the B camera you can kind of see what's happening. Yeah, that's going to work. That's going to work. And then top camera is also going to see something. And I can zoom this one in if I want to. I just have to step on the table real quick. But that's going to work. So fan in the back, and this just goes over the printer and the screen gets removed. Screen gets unplugged. Backscheinbecker, not a lens, just a hood. Okay. So that is, I misspoke there. That's not a lens. Typically, this is where the lens is, right? That on a laser diode or diode laser, this is what adjusts the focus. So I guess that's not adjustable. Power supply. Where does the power supply live? I guess we're seeing the power supply. Nope. We're seeing the power supply unplugged here, so I'm going to unplug this as well, and we're probably going to feed this into the enclosure somehow later. Uncle Jesse, hey, good to see you around. New space. Yeah, you can scroll, you can jump back to the start of the video where I kind of pan the camera around and give you guys a view of what's happening in here. Yep. Switch cameras first. There you go. Hey! Whoa! So you just... Nope, other way around. Okay. This way around. Hoi! Whoa! Okay, I mean this frame isn't all too heavy, but it's unwieldy when you lift it around like that. So there are some cutouts here, which, oh God, this is going to be a nightmare to show. There, behind in the blur, some cutouts and some mill slots here, over there, and okay, you can't see that one. There you can see them. Okay, there's that cutout. I guess that's where we're going to be clamping down the printer somehow. How is asking, can you zoom the camera using Stream Deck? So what I can do is I can crop in. I've got two scenes set up where one's a cropped in view and one is not, but I cannot control the motor zoom on the camera, unfortunately. I don't know if that's even possible on these Sony cameras, but would be super cool. So what I'm just doing is we're out of focus. I'm just switching between a bunch of cameras and crops. Clamp the foot fixtures onto the 4 feet of the machine, then fix the fixtures onto the enclosure. M4x20, I assume these are M4x20s. So this was the foot fixtures then. Oop. Oh, I wanted to put a different printer into this. Looking at the size, I'm going to say a Prusa is going to fit. Okay, so these have a little cutout that goes around the round foot of the printer. So that is, unfortunately, that is just impossible to show. But yeah, basically this just keeps the printer from sliding around. It doesn't really hold it. It can still slide up and down on the foot. Screws, and then this sort of Z bar shape thing just goes in here. One at the front. Over there. You can just see the screw there. Thorsten's asking, if you want a 3D printer laser CNC combo, why not a Core XY as a better, or would a Core XY not be a better starting point? It's about rigidity. So for CNC, well, for everything but CNC, I would very much agree with you there. So going with Core XY, definitely better platform for laser cutting and for 3D printing. Or Core XY kind of being the anything belt driven. However, this printer is not belt driven. This printer is, as far as I can tell, using lead screws for all 3 motion axes. I was having to count there. So not just the Z axis is using lead screws as on any other printer, almost any other printer. There's a Voron sitting behind the camera that is definitely not using lead screw, but typically printers use a lead screw for the Z axis because, well, the axis doesn't drop down typically, or not drop down as easily, and you get a bit more resolution, and it doesn't need to be fast. But the Snapmaker uses lead screws on all axes. So these are 5 identical drive modules, and as far as I can tell, they all use lead screws. The thing with CNC applications is belts just aren't quite rigid enough for machining stuff. It does work. You can work your way slowly through some aluminum if you want to, but it's just not gonna be pretty. And lead screws are just a lot more rigid than belts. It's a Maki box, yeah. put a router on a Maki box. I'd love to see that. So this, I guess, is the expansion connector, so there is a connector on the printer's add-on box, so add-on 3. Add-on 3, and that goes onto the breakout of the enclosure. So I guess this is the best shot you got of the enclosure at all. Can we just use a left or right port? We use the right port. Like that, and then you you go onto the printer and there is a port labeled. There is a port labeled add-on 3 here. That is plugged in. Okay, so this cable is already dangling into the fan. Actually, I can, there you go. This cable is already dangling into the fan. That is not great. That is, which cable is that? That's the Z-axis cable. I'm just gonna grab one of these zip ties and zip tie this out of the way because this eventually is gonna cause a problem. Yeah, there's not a single zip tie on this entire printer so far. This is number 1, and it's not one that's you're supposed to use. It's not an official zip tie. What is our perspective? Something like this, right? Yeah, Daniel, don't do it. No, that would be madness. Ah, right. So, folding door. Sorry about the focus. Nothing I can do about this. Maybe though I can switch over to the B camera and we can have a look at this together. Go a bit wider. Attach folding door sliders to the side folding door. Notice that the slider should be on the same side with the circular magnets. Folding door sliders. So the sliders are just these plastic bits. And then, this is what you use the M3 screws for. So we're gonna need these side panels here. We've got a pair of side panels. I believe they're a pair. Side folding door, front folding door. So I guess side. There's only one package, but there is only one folding door. Is the other side just fixed? Huh. Holy overbuiltness. I mean, wow. This kind of feels like unnecessarily nice, to be honest. It is a very nice mechanism. Kind of reminds me of the convertible mechanisms on laptops, on those convertible laptops. Do I have one of those here? No. But yeah, all anodized aluminum, double hinge. It is squeaking, but like, wow. So these are the screws we're going to be using for this one. For these sliders. So where are those sliders? There we go. Yeah, even Miranda's latest CNC also uses belts, but I believe that's not your standard belt size, right? So we need the smaller hex wrench. They do include some of those. And then let me try and figure. I've already run myself out of space. Fantastic. New studio, got it for the extra space. Already out of space. Let me just move all this crap back here. That and that. And the screen, we're gonna need that in a minute. These cable clips we do not need. The screwdriver we don't need. That's trash. Okay. This clip, whatever this is, we've not used. All right, so the sliders, where do those go? Trying to make sense of what exactly we're looking at here. Okay. Notice that the sliders should be on the same side with the circular magnets. So these two have magnets in them. These two have some through holes in them. And then on the other side, they have counter bores for screws. So one top, and then in the right direction as shown above. So these are symmetrical left to right. So this way they're symmetrical, but they have a little cutout for a nut right there, where that fits in. So these, I think, we're just gonna, and then from underneath we stick through a pair of screws. Let's see if we can make that happen. Yeah, easy enough. The Bang & Olufsen of 3D printers. I don't know about Bang & Olufsen, I've never used any of their stuff, but it's trying to be like it's got a very Apple-y vibe to it. In a lot of ways, just the design cues of the entire printer feels a lot like they're trying to do Apple, with like the chamfers and the anodized aluminum. It's that vibe. Okay, so that's done. Laser stink. Yep, that is correct. So we've got an activated carbon air filter that's going to be used while the laser is running. Kyle, yeah, so, oops. Why get this when you can get a K40 for $300? I don't know, I've not heard too many nice things about the K40 series, but then again, I don't know if it's actually any worse than the Snapmaker is going to perform. Why get this? Why get the Snapmaker when you just want a laser cutter? Well, don't. If you just want a laser cutter, don't get the Snapmaker, definitely. If you just want a 3D printer, then don't get the Snapmaker either. The only reason you would get this machine is if you want something that's like a versatile manufacturing tool. The conversion between, so the thing is, if you have a tool that can do a couple things well enough, I don't think this is going to be like the best laser cutter or the best CNC or anything, but I am hoping it's going to be decent, at least at CNCing and laser cutting. We've already shown it's decent at 3D printing. But if you want something that's like, that can do all those things, you will need to be able to convert between them efficiently, where you're just going to leave it at your most used tool and it's just going to be a 3D printer basically. And so far that is okay. Would you get this over individual CNC, laser, and 3D printer units? Space, basically. Or if you just think it's cool that you can convert from one to the other. That's a selling point, right? That's something that people buy stuff for because it's cool, because they think it's a cool setup. If you have the space, probably 3 individual machines are going to be doing each individual job better. I don't think there's any doubt about that. This is like, hey, if you're in an apartment and you want to do, you don't just want to do 3D printing. You maybe also want to do some laser cutting, some CNCing, and some 3D printing. Then this could be a single machine setup. I don't know. What I can evaluate is whether the machine does its job well or not, but I can't evaluate whether a tool is going to be a good job for your particular situation. And there's so many situations out there that you can't really say, okay, this is never going to fit. There's probably some application that this is the perfect tool for, otherwise like Snapmaker wouldn't exist, right? They wouldn't sell any units. Okay, we've attached the sliders. Mounted 2 folding door sliders into the slider grooves of the beams. Right, so this is on the fan side. So on the back side. Is that a bit of, I guess that's actually a good view. Yeah, you can see the cutouts. So let's get these peeled. Huh. Lars, you can't say nipple, you know that. Yeah, chat filtering is pretty harsh. That's like Christian moms for streamers kind of block list. So it is pretty tight what chat or what the YouTube chat filter is filtering out, but it does the job. So these, oh God, this is gonna be pain to show. Why am I struggling so much to show this? There's that cutout that you saw, and there is our slider. And basically, this gets hinged in here, that gets hinged in here, and then we slide. Slide. Come on. Slide, will ya? Into the slider grooves. Move the sliding folding door horizontally to the right. Okay. So that one's sliding. That one's also sliding, but okay. I guess once we screw down the attachment point at the back, this might be a bit smoother. And I'm seeing a bit of a problem because the cables are poking out on the side here. You can maybe see that the printer cable is poking out, and it's actually pushing the door open. Okay, now it's better. I've pushed them out of the way. These cables are severely undermanaged. What screws do we use? M4x20. M4x20, that's you. It is looking pretty slick. Still, I like the look. I like the design language that they're using here. So you go in here. That's a pretty crunchy thread. You know what, I could also just zoom out the camera a bit more. That could be an option. So 2 screws, and theoretically, if you, no, how does this work? Do you poke this out? Oh, okay. So you poke that out, and then you slide that back, and then this opens, and you've got access to your machine. Okay. Oh, and there's a pair of magnets in here, and there's a, Oh, okay, there's another magnet embedded into the frame itself, so that keeps it shut. How tight is this enclosure? Is this actually going to be something that's going to be laser tight? I don't think it's going to be particularly good. Yeah, there's gaps. I mean, there's a reason why laser enclosures are typically just a single panel that opens up, and everything else is kind of either laser or acrylic panels that are fixed, that are just installed in place, or just aluminum. There's still gaps. I mean, realistically, this isn't going to be much of a problem. There's nothing that could really reflect light out of this, but it's not super mega tight. Frame rate is off. Nope. Sorry about hitting that Stream Deck. So far this isn't much of an enclosure yet. So the side is still open, the front and the top is still open. Connect the touchscreen to the machine's control and place it on the touchscreen holder of the enclosure. So touchscreen. So this one now sits upright, whereas on the printer itself, it's kind of sitting right there. It's sitting tilted back, but here it's sitting completely upright. At least this is out of the way of the bed now, because the bed was kind of crashing into the screen and moving it around. Here it is completely out of the way, so that's good. Bit of lag, ooh. Buffering, oh yeah. Are we back? Should be back. I see bits going up. Should be back. OBS is still red. Why is still red? Back in 240p. OBS, why is still red? Let me check the preview. A2 is not giving enough frames. Come on. Back to 1080. Frame rate very low. Oh yeah, frame rate does look rather low. The problem is if I guess I can turn off auto quit. Let me just restart OBS here. Back in 1080, okay. OBS is frozen if you guys hear me. It's trying to save to a network share, but I can't. Come on OBS. 15 FPS. There we go. Okay, OBS is green again. Refresh Studio here. Sorry about the tech issues. That's the sort of stuff that you figure out in a new studio with a new setup. But this is looking okay. This is looking better. This is looking like we've got solid stream now. Can I get a thumbs up if this is working? Looks smooth. Climbing. Okay. Frame rate's good. Right. Right. Okay. Sorry about that. I shall investigate what happened there. I can look at logs after this stream. Okay, what we did was we connected the touchscreen to the touchscreen holder up here. This again is magnetic, and we plugged it into the board back there. That is plug-a-ro-need, and the top camera is still focusing on that, so not much there. Attach folding door sliders to the front folding door. So this is basically, no, this really is the front. So this really is a different panel than the side one, though it looks like it's almost the same size. No, it is. It's not that much smaller. Looks like this thing is very deep and not very, very wide. But okay. By the Blender, I am not encoding the stream at 60 frames. That is YouTube, I believe. So what I believe is happening is that I'm still using an old stream profile that I thought was just auto detect on YouTube side, but I think it is still set to 1080p 60 on YouTube. And I thought, like I said, I thought YouTube, because they kind of let you do that now, where it's just one universal stream or stream profile, stream key, that just sets the stream to whatever quality you send it, but it seems like that is actually not the case. It seems like it is still, YouTube is still expecting 1080p 60. I'm sending it 4K 30. So YouTube is downscaling and up frame rating to 1080p 60. I'm super out of focus. Yeah, all these cameras are in autofocus. It's gonna come back. So I guess I could change OBS Studio to 1080p 60, but it wouldn't make much of a difference because these cameras, or at least these B cameras, are all set to 30 frames, so the image wouldn't change much. I would need to go into YouTube and create a different stream profile and set that to 4K 30. Kyle, neat cutout for the screen. So you say it's a neat cutout for the screen. I say it's a place for laser to escape. So I mean, unless this is a very tight fit, this is just going to be detrimental to how well this entire thing seals. So same as before, little embedded nut in the plastic part, a little nut trap basically. And then we've got these slots, these cutouts on the front panel where that's going to slide in. And then it's just going to slide inside the slot. So I can't really tighten this down because the nut is twisting. But we can clamp it a bit further. Okay. So let's see. So with the screen cutout, well, that's the cutout for the sliders, and that is the slider that goes into it. So let me see, how do we insert this? Mount, just mount, okay. Move to the left until it aligns with the frame, okay. So maybe on the top one you can see it better. So there is the cutout. This one goes in here. Okay, so that one's in. Now the bottom one. Tricky. Okay, so that one's in as well. And then on this side, we have these two screws that just bolt to the frame. Four screws again. And then I guess the rest of the panels, the side and top panels, are just the static acrylic. Norman Fair saying, no way the opening for the screen is going to be a tight fit. Yeah, I doubt it as well. So, I mean, if you're going to end up wearing goggles anyway, what is the point of an enclosure? I guess it's an extra level of safety. But would this pass CE if it's not actually a laser tight enclosure? I don't know the norms for that. There's like thousands, tens of thousands of pages of norms written to, essentially to make sure that people buying stuff in the EU get a product that is safe. But it's a lot of paperwork, it's a lot of bureaucracy that you have to wade through, and I don't have the paragraphs at hand that specify how exactly this sort of stuff needs to be built. Also skin, I don't think a 1.6 watt laser would do too much harm, permanent harm to skin. Like it's gonna etch through skin. Yeah, it's gonna give you little bites, but I don't think it would be too dangerous to skin. At least I think that is by no way a recommendation to laser your skin with a 1.6 watt near UV laser. Not at all, but yeah, skin is like, what I'm worried about is eyes, basically, because you can, in a split second, you can burn a hole into your retina. So let's check how good of a fit this screen cutout is. Yeah, okay. So there's a pretty solid gap around this. Actually, I can poke the 2.5 wrench through it, no problem. Yeah, that's not a very good seal at all, because that is also the side that you move, I guess, right? Yeah, so that is the side that he slide open. And essentially, you can look straight through to the laser in there. So, yeah, that's not great. That's kind of pointless for the enclosure then. Will the laser shut off when the door is open? I believe so. So in the front here, it's the box. You can't see inside. Wow. Basically in here, so this is the side that opens up there. And in here, I guess there is a two-way sensor that detects whether the door is open or not. So it would shut off the laser when the door is open. At least I would hope for that. Isn't it out of focus once it reaches out of the enclosure? Well, Moritz, by the same token, you could say, well, why use an enclosure anyways? Because the laser is going to be out of focus once once it reaches your eye. The thing is, there is still a very bright dot of light happening on your part. That potentially is still dangerous. So that enough focused onto your eye, well, basically you're looking at it, right? Your eye is focusing on that bright spot. That could be enough to cause some harm, I don't know. Lasers need to have an enclosure. Lasers need to have a working enclosure. I didn't make the rules, but the rules make sense to me. All right, snap bushing. Oh, that's where that bushing comes into play. That is a cutout on the side panel. Where does that go? Okay, so the spool mount, the filament holder goes in the back. I'm not going to mount that right now. That is, okay, so this thing right here is basically your filament inlet port. SK13. Basically, this snaps into the side and it allows for filament to enter the enclosure. Also, this is literally a hole in the enclosure that you poke your filament through. There's no grommet or gasket or anything. This is just a hole in the enclosure. Right, so we're going to be needing the panels and a whole bunch of screws. Okay. So the duct we're not going to install because we're going to be blowing it straight into a HEPA and activated carbon filter. Right, and then the power plug just goes through that grommet in the back there. So let me do that real quick. Power supply. So the air filter I'm going to put here then. And then this just goes through. And then I guess we can plug this in from the other side. Power is down here. Okay, top panel. Panels are back here. So that is the side panel with the hole for the laser to poke through. And then this is the top panel, which is actually symmetrical. Andrew, yeah, you could design a gasket. I mean, you could also tape around it and just use it from the side. Oh, actually another thing. So these hinges, as I'm noticing, so this hinge right here, there's like a millimeter gap all throughout the hinge. Can't see my fingers, but these aluminum hinges, there's just a millimeter gap there. So this is not tight at all. So there's a lot of spaces that you would need to seal up. This is not an enclosure that is designed to be laser tight. M4x12. At least the top panel is nice and solid. So no cutouts there. Maybe there is no 100% safety. Well, you know what? There is 100% safety if you use a proper enclosure. I mean, laser cutters are used safely in a lot of applications with enclosures that are just tight, you know. It's supposed to peel that off so it makes a satisfying sound. Well, if the plastic doesn't make that sound, then there's not much I can do. So these panels look quite black on camera. because honestly, the camera, I guess, is limiting its exposure quite a bit, and it is it's maybe showing things a bit darker than it really is. But if I pop on my flashlight, you can kind of see there like a very dark orange tint. Yeah, this is darker than it really is. Or is it? No, actually, the top one is quite dark. But yeah, these are like an orange tint. I don't know if this is a material that is like specifically tested, rated to absorb the wavelength of the laser. I don't know. Though from my experience, that is matching the absorption of your acrylic to a laser is not that hard. Because the dyes and I guess it is a dye for the acrylic. They do absorb quite a wide spectrum of frequencies. So I don't think the material itself absorbing the laser would be an issue. Yeah, and Daniel's making a good point. The Mr. Beam is 100% safe. Yeah, so Munich-based laser cutter company, Mr. Beam, they actually had to take their V1 product off of the market, which was a very low-cost laser engraver, I'm going to call it, well, similar class laser as this thing. And yeah, they got in trouble for having well, a non-enclosure essentially. And their V2 version they're selling now is totally fine. It is a very safe product to use. So I mean, you can build them safe. 5-watt laser, yeah. You guys want like satisfying sound? I'll try. So. Was that better? Zach Lee, well, who is Mr. Beam? Mr. Beam are basically making laser engravers, laser cutters, German company. They are one of the companies who successfully managed to move past the Kickstarter phase. Their first printer was Their first machine was a Kickstarter, successfully funded, and they are now making, ooh, that's an interesting noise. There's so much static on this panel. There's so much static on this panel that I believe when I moved the screw towards the panel, we were getting some arcing, and you could literally hear like a like little discharges happening between my body as a capacitor and the panel. So if I touch some grounding here, yeah, I can still feel my hairs getting attracted to this thing. So this amount of static might not be great for printer components. But yeah, Mr. Beam, essentially, I mean, I think I've brought them up before, but they are an example that you can make a laser cutter, laser engraver. I guess it does cut some felts and stuff. You can make those safe in a way where there's just no way that the laser is going to escape. Driven by Octoprint, yeah, that's pretty good. Mr. Bean, no, I believe the naming is kind of intentional. But yeah, Mr. Beam. So on a scale of 1 to 7, how good was that last peel? Did we get a 5 out of 7? That's the important part. Yeah, how can people find that satisfying? There are some very satisfying peels, but it depends on the device. So peeling off of just plain acrylic usually isn't all that good. peeling film off of like a 77-inch OLED, that is very satisfying. Not just because it's the sound and the experience, but it's also like the christening, the it's mine now moment of getting a new device, right? That's what it's about. That's the psychological background to that. Almost as peeling his fingernail on a chalkboard. Okay, yeah, so. Pause the stream for a second, and then hit play again. You're gonna get a bit of delay. You're gonna get like a how long you've paused delay, and that allows you to skip forward. So if you find peeling acrylic protectors not satisfying, then you could skip over that if you wanted to. So we have connected we've now connected the hose, connect the power module to the machine. We did that, so theoretically we should be able to power this up. Before starting a 3D printing laser or CNC process, it is recommended to switch on the LED strips for a better vision in the work status. Okay. Switch on the exhaust fan, so that's something we do through the screen. Yeah, can be controlled through entering home, enclosure, LED strip, or exhaust fan on the touchscreen. So let's do that right now, and I hope the laser doesn't like accidentally activate. Oh, that could be a problem. I need to plug this thing in. Yes, so the power supply is working. Did you put the grommet in the hole? I did not, but really the grommet doesn't, I mean, I can shove it in, but it doesn't make the hole any smaller. There is still a solid, I don't know, 9mm hole. So the LEDs do auto turn on, and you can kind of see something now. Yeah, so at least the top view is getting some action. Hard to show. Yeah, that's going to be a pain to show on camera. Outdated module. What are you? Outdated module enclosure firmware detected. Please visit our website, download the latest version and update before use. So we need to update the enclosure. I guess. Okay, how do I do this? Can I just ignore that and use it as is? I mean, this all works. Why do I need to update the firmware for the enclosure? Does the door switch work? Is there like a visual representation of the door switch? Oh, I guess I should also plug in the laser head. So let's turn this off again and plug in the laser. Oh, you can't open that, you have to slide that. I left this unplugged just to make sure it doesn't like accidentally, or we accidentally turn it on. Are you plugged in? Yeah. You don't feel plugged in. No, but you are. I left it unplugged so we don't like accidentally unplug it. We don't accidentally power it up with stuff open. So I'm not gonna update the enclosure's firmware. Like I don't see the point in it. Yeah, the enclosure has, I'm hoping the laser doesn't turn on, but whatever. The enclosure has a little distributor board in the back there, and I guess there's some MCU running in it that would be updatable. I don't know. So back there, I don't know what protocol these speak, but they speak something. When a machine is, safety instructions. Okay. Let's see what these safety instructions have to tell us. The laser module is a class 4 product. Class 4 is basically the highest class, which means no reflexes, or, well, basically no reflexes are going to protect your eyes if you look into it. Children require supervision of an adult at all times. Okay, never expose yourself directly to the laser beam. Directly to the laser beam. So basically they're saying don't put your hand in the laser. They're not saying indirect exposure. Put the machine into an enclosure or wear the laser safety goggles. Or. So basically they're saying if this thing is in the enclosure, we do not need to wear the laser safety goggles. When operating the laser module, exhaust outdoors or use an air purifier. Yes, we have one of those. Some materials can produce hazardous fumes when burned, particularly PVC. Always disconnect the machine from power before performing maintenance or modifications. Yeah, so we do that. Fix material. Okay, measure the thickness of the material, then fix it to the laser engraving cutting platform with the provided silicone plugs. Oh, we got some silicone plugs. Where are those silicone plugs? Nope. Nope. What are you? What are you? You are some Velcro. Screws. That's the hard end. Sorry if that was loud. That is work holding for the CNC. Did we miss some silicone plugs? I don't see no silicone plugs. If you guys remember them from the earlier streams. Oh, hold on. We still have the toolbox that we can look into. Silicone plugs! Yes, who doesn't like a good set of silicone plugs? You are the collet, okay. Silicone plugs, okay, so these are very small plugs. So basically you push these into the fins of that heatsink build plate, and it kind of keeps your material pinned down. That's kind of cool. That is a pretty cool system. So if we go back here and have a peek inside. Nope, that screen needs to stay. So basically if we grab one of our, I don't have calipers here, but I can guess the thickness of this stuff. Match 2.5 millimeters. So you go in here and then basically we just shove this. Oh, that is quite the tight fit. I was expecting this to be way looser. Okay, so a bit of a problem. This plywood, I guess it's poplar plywood or something. You see that? It's kind of bowing up. It's not very flat by itself. And also it's kind of twisted. So if the focus, I don't know how sensitive the focus is, but this is like very, maybe if you change the orientation, because right now it's in the, we're kind of bending it up. If we switch orientations, so that we have the ply going like this. Maybe this is going to hold better. Yeah, it is. It is actually. It is actually. So one more plug in the middle here. There we go. Put a plug on the sides. Yeah, so this is, the grain direction is like this right now. Basically, that's the orientation we're using now. And you can very easily flex this stuff this way, but not this way. So I've now got it basically like that, where it can flex like this. But as we push the plugs in front to back, it's not gonna want to like spring up like this. Yeah, so it's still a bit springy, but it's relatively solid. So yeah, these silicone plugs, they did sound like a better idea in theory, because it's a rather loose fit. With, well, you get 8 plugs in total. I don't think a plug on the side here is going to do very much. Well, let's just see. It might be good enough. Fixed material, set material thickness, 1.5 mil. 1.5. I don't have calipers, but I do have a 10-meter measuring tape. I have a very good 10-meter measuring tape. So let's just give this a quick measure, and you guys tell me how much that is. That is definitely 2 millimeters. That is 2 millimeters for sure. For sure. Yeah. Love that tape, by the way. So we're going to set this to 2 millimeters on the dot. Measure height. The machine needs to know the height of the laser engraving curve. Okay. Okay, so it's homing. The calibration card has a ruler on the side. Oh, that is useful actually, yeah. So this guy has a ruler in, where are you at? Centimeters and in some other unit. Carefully lower the laser module to the surface of the material and tap next. Okay, so we're still, yeah. We're still doing this without the laser turning on. Okay, so that's grabbing. It's grabbing, doing the good old paper leveling. Put on the safety laser goggles. So I'm gonna try that. Gonna look like a dork, but at least I can still look out of my eyes. Where did I put those? Here's the point. So work safety is cool, but it's not cool when you have equipment that doesn't fit you. So problem with these, again, I pointed this out earlier on, these fit heads that don't wear glasses, but as soon as you have to wear glasses, as soon as you have to use glasses, either it's this, and you have them awkwardly falling around, which is awful, or you wear them like this over, but they're not actually big enough to wear your glasses under them. So there is a significant gap around here, which is not great. This is what I'm gonna try to do for now. This is like, I'm gonna try and keep my face pointed towards the box. I don't think there's gonna be like any extra reflections around the room. This should be all right. Actually, these do look rather stylish. So I'm gonna try not to do this where I would have some laser poking into my eye from the sides. Please don't put them over your glasses. Well, it's the best I can do. My alternative here would be, I do have some other laser quote-unquote laser goggles somewhere. These are some groggy red goggles that I got with some laser module, and I can wear these under my glasses, though I do not know how well these protect. I have no idea how well these work. I think I've tested these with some laser. I just shot the laser through them, and it ended up not really coming out the other side. So I think these do work, though these are like super duper cheap Chinese ones, and I think I would rather have some that, you know, don't see that well. Oh, Daniel is actually making a good suggestion. Making a good suggestion. Actually, we do have some goggle extended tape here. So if I just put a small strip around these, that would help. That would actually improve the seal. So I'm going to do that. I think that is a pretty good idea. So just good old gaff tape. And I'm going to do half a gaff. And I'm just going to apply this liberally to the goggles to improve the seal. I think this is not a good, not a good. It's not a perfect way to go about it, but it's not a bad way either. There you go. There's one. And then we're going to need half because the nose bridge is still going to be, we're not going to need anything there. Let's see how well this seals. That's actually, that is, wow, that is actually a lot better. That is so much better. I mean, okay, yeah. But that is almost perfectly sealing up now. Ugh. It's sticking to my face too, but hey. Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna work. Okay, yeah, you do what you gotta do. So safety goggles, we got the safety goggles on, and we've actually got them surprisingly well fitting. Problem is it's sticking to my face. It's pulling out hair. Set work origin. Use X and Y offsets to set work origin. Always tap run boundary to check the work area. So we got an LED light going on. There's a fan going on. Okay, so basically, I guess I'm supposed to just okay. Don't have the laser on. Can we? No. So where is our origin supposed to be? Is it supposed to be in the corner or in the center? What are? Because I'm going to try to do the example G codes. I would assume it would be at the 0, 0, and then we use positive coordinates. That would be my guess. It really depends. I mean, for CNCing, you can do center origin, or you can do the corner. So right now it's on the corner. Sorry if that was out of focus, but center's in the origin. Ah, okay. It's supposed to be in the center. Well, thanks, chat. Thanks, Paul. Particular. So Snapmaker wants to have the origin in the center. So I'm roughly putting this in the center. Oh. Set work origin. So that is the center position of our plywood. Autofocus. Okay, so it's telling you again to put the goggles on before it activates the laser. Bottom left. Run boundary. Okay, so run boundary basically runs. Does this have something loaded now? Okay. I'm just going to leave it in the center, whatever. So we are engraving, we're doing something. Guess I should put up my air filter. Oh yeah, I can smell the burnt wood already. And we're gonna put you on level 2. Basically, I've got the A250's right at the outlet here. Is there even any air coming out? There is not. I thought we had the fan turned on. Definitely smells. Yeah, but this thing is sucking up air now. Huh, that's weird. We did have the fan on. You have completed autofocus successfully. Okay. So, did this already use the camera or something? Oh God, why is the fan not turning? Where can I can't turn the fan on. It was on a second ago. It smells. I don't want to do this. I just want to turn the fan on. I can't turn the fan on. Oh, now we have to measure height again. God damn it. So you can literally not turn the fan on while you're running the calibration. That's bad. Okay, we're gonna have to do this again. Oh God! Oh, that smells like my neighbor is heating or burning his stuff again in the oven. Yeah, whatever. Don't care. Give me origin. So you can actually see the laser dot in there. I can, you can't. Maybe if you had chosen a different origin, but I can see that the laser dot very clearly going into the material, or at least you can see some fluorescence that's happening from the fumes or from the material getting hit by the laser. Okay. Camera calibration. Fix a piece of blank white paper not less than 150 by 150 to the center of the laser engraving cutting platform using the provided silicone plugs. The machine will cut a square on the paper to calibrate the camera parameters. Oh, I shouldn't have hit start. Cancel. Stop. The fan is still off. I guess we're engraving the poplar. I guess we still don't have the fan on. Yeah, the thing is, it doesn't even let you do the. It doesn't let you out of this menu before, after, well, right when you've installed the laser toolhead, it locks you into this menu. It doesn't let you out of this menu at all. So. Yeah, and it actually stopped complaining about the firmware of the enclosure once we had the laser head installed. So, yeah, that sucks. Thank you for the 20, Thomas. Asking about the Mendel 9001. You love the Mendel 9001. It's a bit of a clutch together beast at this point. Mendel 9001 is still at the old studio. It's still at home. It's gonna sit in a spot here in the new space once I bring it over. Clean the lens after this. Need the face mask? Yeah, mask would be nice. Though I do have the IKEA vernünftig HEPA filter, and actually, you know what? If I push this right up to this, no, it doesn't suck in any air. I do have this guy just exhausting some fumes and filtering those. Of course, filter goes on. Yeah, but it does very much smell of burnt wood, of charred wood. Awesome, you've completely, okay, can it turn the fan on? Yeah, now it tells me, okay, now it tells me the firmware is updated. And supposedly that's why we couldn't get the fan running. We can absolutely turn it on. And it is blowing into the air filter pretty well. No, but it's not catching at all. It's the fan in the back is very strong. It's pushing a lot of air in. I think it's overwhelming the IKEA air filter. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put up a second one of those because I have two. I've got one more at home. Where is that actually? Oh, the cool thing is because this is all drywall now instead of reinforced concrete, I can actually walk around the studio and not lose audio. That's a new feature. Previously, when I was just walking over to the workshop, everything would just cut out in the old studio. Where is my second air filter? There it is. There it is. I'm definitely going to need this, or I'm going to go home with a black lung after this. So how do people actually use their laser cutters? If any of you guys are using one, how do you deal with exhaust and all that? Do you have ventilation to the outside, or do you just have like a big air filter box that has a bunch of HEPA and carbon filters in it? How do you deal with that typically? Oh wow, this one's pretty caked up from all the drywall dust as well. Dry tube to window, okay. Yeah, only problem with these Vernünftig filters is they hike the prices of the of these basic HEPA filters. So I think they used to be $5, which is amazing for a filter this size. That's cheaper than any car indoor or car air cabin filter. There you go, and it's just a regular pleated filter. They're now $8, which is still not bad, but like, you know, obviously significant increase. And this is the HEPA filter they sell you for $10. Has like a hex pattern on the inside and just loose granulated activated charcoal on the inside, and it just fits inside the fan box. Activated carbon filter goes first, has a nice seal around the edge, and then the HEPA filter goes on top, and then your coarse filter goes over all of that. So this actually does catch quite a bit of just the coarse dust, so you don't gum up your main filter. $40 for the thing with the HEPA filter, but not the activated carbon one, which is really good deal, I think. Okay, second one is on. So now, hopefully, let's put a box here so the fan doesn't blow under those. So fan exhaust. There we go, made a little ramp. Okay, 55 pounds. Yeah, I mean the pound isn't worth anything anymore. It's 40 euros here in Germany. 50 euros regular, but with IKEA family you pay 40. Can you find furnace filters that fit? Furnace HEPA filters that fit. The problem is in Germany we don't have furnace filters or air central AC filters or anything like that, because we typically don't have central AC. So furnace filters are a thing that you can get in the States and in places that use similar HVAC, but here we don't have those filters. They're like specialty order stuff and much more expensive than the ones you get from IKEA. £10 for the HEPA and £12 for the activated carbon filter. Yeah, that British pound, not doing that well. Okay, so fan is on, and I can already smell it's getting, it's not that bad anymore. It's been a while since we've cut. Let's have a look at that cut, at what we've made. as far as calibration stuff goes. Just trying to feel how deep that went. So basically, that's what we got. So the outer pattern is the camera calibration pattern, and this is maybe like 0.3 millimeters deep. It's like you can catch your fingernail on it, but that's pretty much it. And then this pattern, this is the first one, and that's the second one. We've engraved two over each other. This double cut one's maybe like 0.5 millimeter deep. But yeah, that's what we got so far. That's what we cut. What are we gonna do? I think there should be some example parts in here, or at least in Luban. Yeah, so there's nothing on here, no examples or anything. So I guess we're gonna have to slice something in Luban. Are we buffering again? Okay, internet's gone again. That the stream is cutting out again. I'm gonna have to look into the router's logs, like I said. The studio does have a smoke alarm, but only in the office so far. None in here, though. I doubt the amount of smoke would actually be enough to trigger that. Okay, so we were gonna slice something, or what's the term? We were gonna process something. I guess we can put our stock back in. Yeah, that does kind of work. So I'm leaving one side in place, and then the other side you can just push back into position. That kind of works. So let's see what I shall retrieve the USB drive. We've got so much ventilation going on right now. Printer's noisy, the IKEA filters are noisy. And I was worried that my lights were going to be too noisy, but yeah, it is what it is. It's like industrial scale ventilation going on right now. Okay, so we still got Luban open. I think this laptop was actually just in standby, so we still have this open from the last time. Laser, 3-axis lasering. Oh, hold on, we have some examples. Gift box. How big are you? You fit on the standard cutting 1.5 basswood. Basswood. Should we just try this? Cutting 1.5. Should we add an extra pass? How long is this actually going to take? Okay, or let's do it like this. Should we do? You guys decide. Should we do the example G code? For example, project, I guess, and see what we get, or should we? So this would be a cutting project that cuts 1.5 millimeter material, or in this case 2 millimeter. I guess I could add an extra pass, or should we try and do an engraving job, where we do like a rasterized image that we engrave, because we can, yeah, black and white grayscale. We could try a grayscale engrave. It will take a little while, like little while is in an hour, or little while is in like 5 minutes or something. Light burn, light burn, light burn, yeah. Cutting. Raster images take forever. Okay, not doing that. Yeah, that's, I mean, I guess the illusion is when you see like the back of an iPhone getting engraved, or some aluminum getting etched with an industrial laser. It's always like zip, 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 and the thing is done. I guess we don't quite have that amount of power. So yeah, because Marlin didn't support inline power changes, so it stops per dot for 5 minutes. Use camera capture. Okay, what are you? Add background, remove background. That doesn't do anything. So for whatever reason, they give you 2mm, I assume poplar. This might be birch, I don't know. Plywood, but the setting is for basswood. What is basswood?
Cut, pew, pew, fire, smiley face.
Linde, okay. Is this basswood? I don't know. They give you 1.5mm profile. Thanks for that. Thank you for that, Tom. Cut, pew, pew. We'll see. Okay, so we are doing cut, and we're doing the pew, pew. I'm just gonna try this. I'm just gonna do the sample setting, because that is 35 minutes. 35 minutes. I just want to do a quick. I don't want to do 35 minutes. How can do? No, workspace. Workspace is the live. Do we have any other? Is this all the examples we get? That all we have? Is there a default? Nope, there is no default. What are you opening? Custom files. Snap 3D Pre, Snap LZR, Snap CNC Laser. Okay, well, that's their proprietary formats. You can change the origin when you do your own project. 150% laser power. Yeah, I wish I could set that. To me, bottom left is like the intuitive one, right? But then again, your work size needs to be spot on. And if you just do center, your work size kind of doesn't matter. All that matters is how big your part is. So let me see if I can figure this out. So I'm gonna try and do something from scratch here. What are you? You don't give a hover. Oh, you can. There we go. Does this draw from the center? Yes, it does. So let me try and set up a little something here. So we're going to position this over the center. There's no snapping, which is fantastic for doing freehand stuff. So basically, you can punch in this. You can punch in the size, and I guess you can manually center this. So this should be perfectly on 0. And then if we add some text, of course we want it to say Snapmaker, because what else would we want to engrave? Do we have? No, we do not have. I don't have any fonts here. Let's just do. I guess segue is okay. And then you go up to point. How big is a point? Can somebody convert that? It's a bit bigger than that. Let's do 50 point. There you go. So you're on center. So we're going to create a toolpath. We're going to say you are vector engraving. Looks about right. I don't know. And then we're going to select you, and we're going to create a toolpath, and we're going to say cutting, and we're going to add an extra path, just to make sure. And somebody mentioned I should do 150% laser power. Yeah. So we've got one engrave and one cut, and you can see the highlight. Okay, I mean this all makes sense. This all makes sense. Ah, okay, so it just does the contour. 4 minutes, okay, so we should get a little plaque with an engraved text. Load, okay, so load G-code to workspace, that's basically you have to click fill, it's probably gonna be smoky enough. Load G-code to workspace, so basically that opens it to the built-in host, but we want to print with the USB drive. So this creates an NC file. Let's have a quick look at what that file looks like. We've got the G-code from the last time on here, and the G-code is just basically G-code. I mean, you guys know what G-code is. Frickin' Windows 11 menus. And you are, okay, so that's a preview image. That's a PNG that's embedded. Guess you don't need that. And then it's G-code. It's just all regular G-code. Multipass. Yeah. So I guess if you wanted to, you could very much just export from any software that creates G-code. So this looks like it's laser turn on, whatever S55 is, but that looks like it's, one of these is 100% power. Yeah, standard G-code. So you can slice with whatever, only disk. You can slice with whatever software you want, I would assume. Oh, my ears are ringing from the stepper noise from this machine. I don't know, how are you guys holding up? I think we've got noise reduction turned off, right? So you guys are getting, the aroma. You guys are getting the full experience minus the smell. Yeah, I can see noise reduction is turned off. There is probably a processor for Fusion 360 for this thing. Yeah, I mean, wouldn't be too hard. So, theoretically, should be able to go into files here. Never run a laser at 100%. Well, 100% is the preset. USB. So it is detecting that there is a laser head installed. So we are only displaying the NC files. Remember we still had a G-code file on this stick. Do we get to adjust the center? Do I do that before I start the print? Ah, okay, so I can do that here. So I'm just going to set my work origin. Before I start the print, because I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to do that afterwards. And actually, I shall rotate the printer a bit so you guys get a better view at the laser tool head. Makes it a bit harder for me to see the screen, but this isn't about me. This is about you guys following along. Nope, wrong direction. Somewhere like that should be okay. So I can hardly read what this is saying, but I think this is set work origin. Yep. So USB, U, ready, what? Auto mode, I guess. Material is 2 millimeters thick. Safety goggles on. Oh, okay, we do get the same screen to camera focus, maybe? There we go. We do get that same screen again where we can calibrate. Okay. That is a very light engrave, it looks like. Some poke? What? The goggles, they do nothing. Covers camera. Okay. So I guess this is, wow, this is like all the way down. This is gonna grog up the lasers so quickly. How is this gonna step down? Because right now it's just jamming the laser head into the workpiece. I'm gonna man this camera real quick. And where's my manual focus? Hope you guys aren't seeing the menu right now. Are you? Nope. Oh, can I set this to... Sony, I just want to change the focus spot. No. Manual focus. Okay, got it. So this should be in focus now. Okay, that wasn't hard at all. Okay, I can smell what's going on here. So this is on auto mode, right? So this should adjust the laser height though. I mean, this is like on the, this is like literally rubbing on the wood. I mean, that must know what it's doing. Okay, I mean, I hit stop. Snapmaker has stopped, but this doesn't look like it has stopped, so command buffer, I guess if it's engraving the outside, there's not much. It's only like 8 lines or something. Okay, I'm gonna unplug this. Yeah. And we're gonna see what we got, because that definitely did not go right. Oh, God. The smell. Might be able to pop one of these on this side and just have it suck out the fumes and stuff. Okay, that should do the trick. So, let's see. Okay, smells horrible. But, so here's what we got. We're in manual focus. Here is what we got. So the actual engraving of the number is kind of spotty. I don't know what's up with that. How close can I go? I can go pretty close with that. That has some spots to it, and the actual cutting pass, if I grab a knife, so there's no marks on the back, so I reused this part. No marks on the back. Yeah, this does go down like a millimeter maybe. You can kind of see how deep we're getting into this. Yeah, that's a good millimeter. Yeah, I don't know how. So this looks all right distance-wise, but this is pretty burned, pretty charred overall. Let's try one more. So I kind of want to give up right now. I kind of want to chuck this in the bin and say, okay, screw this, I'm done, whatever. No, we're going to try one more time. We're going to try to get one good cut out of this. So the G-code seems okay. The file seems okay. Beams climbing below the surface. Yeah, that seems like it. So laser height calibration was saying auto. So I had it on auto. I thought that would work. Auto functions typically know what's best for you. That doesn't seem to be the case. The laser is actually kind of warm. So I hope there's some sort of a lens in here, because if there is, it's probably going to be gummed up. There is not. This is literally just a tube. There is absolutely nothing in here. So I can maybe try and stick like a paper towel or something in there. Just to see if we can, if we have gummed up the lens or got some soot on there. Let's see, cotton swab. I don't have a cotton swab, unfortunately. Okay, that goes in pretty far. Doesn't seem too bad. There's a bit of orange gunk coming off of the bottom area, but I don't think this is too bad. The smell is quite bad, though, to be honest. Okay, so I'm gonna try and rerun the calibration. So this goes in here. That goes there, that goes there. Can't really hold it down flat because the material is bowed and this holding system isn't particularly strong, but I think we should have an area that's close enough in the center here, right? I'm going to leave the side open for the fan, for the IKEA fan. So that side over there is actually open, but the fan is blocking most of it, and I'm on the opposite side of the enclosure, so this should be okay. It's just burnt wood smell, right? Maxwell, it's not campfire smell. It's smoldering, sooty, kind of like oxygen deprived burning smell. So it's pretty much, nah, it's not the same. Though, I mean, it is the smell that I get when my neighbors fire up their wood burning, their fireplaces, essentially, right? So door detection, I think that should just be a setting, right? Enclosure settings, yeah. Tar, yeah, exactly. Like over roasted coffee beans? No, roasted coffee beans. I've smelled that, but that is more of a burnt smell. Got it right. So enclosure settings, door detection off. Also, exhaust fan is off by default. We're going to leave that off. Because we do have that larger exhaust fan with a filter. Calibration. Now it's called homing. When we first did this after the module install, it was called like something else. It wasn't called homing. 2mm thickness. Yeah, as far as the height goes, so maybe you can kind of see that even with the camera calibration, you can see how it was smooshing the wood, how it was kind of pushing down the fibers. You can see that the width of the head, and the same here. Maybe yeah, back here you can kind of see that outline where it was smashing the wood down. Measure height. Nope. Safety goggles, okay, safety goggles go on. Yeah, that's fine. So what are we doing? So it's again engraving the calibration pattern, which you can see. Which you also can see, but can I turn you to spot focus? The operational setting not available as follows. Zoom. What? Need to actually zoom out? Oh, we're zoomed in too far. Interesting. So that should be better. What are we saying? Engraving, you have successfully completed. Nope, gonna have to switch to manual focus. Maybe, again. You have completed autofocus successfully. So, theoretically, this should be it, right? We should be able to just set our work origin if it lets us. Oh yeah, this is enabled. This screen is kind of hard to read. With the goggles. Nope. So I'm going to say this is our origin. Start. Okay, that is actually looking better. Okay, that should give you sort of a view, maybe. Much better. Saw laser through the hinges. Yeah, it does. These hinges, they do have quite a gap. Should we also be wearing safety goggles? No, you guys are seeing it through the enclosure, so you guys should be okay. Okay, so the distance between okay, here's the thing. The material on the edge here is bowed up by about 2 millimeters, roughly. So we did the calibration in the center. It is bowed up at the edge. So I don't know how much that is going to affect it, but the cut line is actually looking quite a bit thinner. And it does appear to be lasering reasonably well. I don't see that much smoke coming off, though that might just be getting sucked out towards the side, or my goggles are just completely shielding it. Yeah, this is looking good. Screen is saying 100%. Okay, so that is the typical command buffer thing where you can work around that, but like yeah, the firmware, the controller, this screen has sent all the commands to the firmware. The firmware has said, "Oh, I got those commands," but this thing is not waiting for those commands to be actually processed. I believe there is either Marlin configuration settings or something like that, where you can actually acknowledge that not all the commands are being executed immediately. So it looks like we've already cut through actually. So the part has come loose and has dropped out. You can kind of see that it has, you're now looking at the burnt edge. But thankfully, because it's not, well, I don't know how quick the better accelerations are, but because it's not being like mechanically pushed like in a CNC, that shouldn't be a problem. Pop the door? No, I'm not going to pop the door. The side door is already open with the filter in place. Yeah, I'm actually going to keep these two IKEA filters running overnight, so that hopefully tomorrow when I get back here, the air should be somewhat clean again. Ash, yeah, so the cutting bed is heat sinks, as far as I can tell. Different gear TV. So Snapmaker specifically recommend against getting your skin or your body in contact with the laser. Yeah. Wow, it's bright. And I would highly recommend against intentionally lasering onto your skin as well. So, okay, that looks like it's not in focus because we're in manual focus. I have to walk around again. Give me 1 second. Yeah, the camera had a really tough time focusing on the laser head behind the enclosure. It was always trying to focus on the enclosure itself. Yeah. Smells. Oh yeah, that is looking crisp. So for reference, God, I smell like a chain smoker. So for reference, that is the first cut, and that is our second cut. So as you can see, much cleaner engraving. So number one, number two, much cleaner engraving. That actually used a focused laser spot, and it is actually cut out. Can you see now? So the edges I guess if we use that as a backdrop, kind of. That is the cut edge, and it's really just one continuous mist. Does this rub off char? It does not. So this is not charred or anything. Well, kinda. This side is. Interesting. That side is, the others aren't. That side is rubbing off some char and the others aren't. That's interesting. What else? What else? I'm stunned by how crisp that that font looks. That looks very good. All right, but that is that's that. It cuts, it engraves, and it smells horrible. I was expecting the smell. I was expecting that there was going to be some burnt wood or some tar smell in the air, but I was hoping that with the fan and with the IKEA filters and activated carbon, activated charcoal, and all that, it would be basically filtered out, but it's not. It really smells bad in here. And I'm gonna start getting out of here because I don't want to get all that stuff into my lungs. So thank you all for watching, for sticking around, for entering the painful setup process here. Should we do one more stream with the CNC? I think so. One more, and then it's gonna be back to regular videos. All right, have a good one. Yeah. Good night. Goodbye, if I can find the button. Thank you for joining, and I will see you around. Keep on making. Bye-bye.